Hello everybody, it's me, GhostCritic, and it's extremely early in the morning. It's about 6:30 in the morning as I'm filming this. The Nurofen that I took before going to bed for the pulled muscle that I have at the moment has clearly worn off, and I couldn't get back to sleep. So I thought, get up, take some more Nurofen. Let's do a comic book review video, which is why you're here. You will already know the books that I've picked up this week if you've already watched Wednesday's new comic book day video. And here I am to tell you my thoughts, opinions and reviews of said books. There are spoilers here, so I will be talking about storylines, cliffhangers. If you've not read any of these books, then please either stop the video, go and read it, or fast forward it until you see the next comic book come up on the screen. And we're going to kick off this week with the new #1 from Marvel. It's Exiles from Saladin Ahmed, and pencils by Javier Rodriguez, colorist the wonderful Jordi Belair. And if you've been following my Twitter feed, every Wednesday I put the covers up of everything I've picked up so you can get a closer look. And I did say for this particular issue on Twitter that I do have this great fondness for the, I think it was early 2000s, 2005 perhaps, of the Judd Winnick 100 issue run of this series. It was one of those kind of fun, out of continuity, although it dipped once or twice into the main 616 universe. But the concept at the root of it is quite simple. You have these superheroes from different Earths being plucked out of their own timeline to come together and fix rifts in time, overseen by this time broker who in much later issues turns out to be a kind of front man, I guess you'd call it, for this alien race that caused all the time breakages. And basically the superhero team have to fix them, but the potential is that they could die or go back to their timeline, and their lives continue on. So Saladin has this, I guess, an enviable task to create a new team. Interestingly enough, I was a little bit wrong on Wednesday about who these characters were. I think I missed out on one that I didn't know who it was, and one I completely got wrong. And that was this character here. Didn't quite notice the t-shirt and what was on it. But it was all revealed in this issue as we get the first 3 members, I guess, of this team coming together. Obviously, main leader, who's always been there from the beginning, which is Blink. She's living the life, her normal, for want of a better word, being a kind of mutant in Earth 616, getting to know her family on the planet, gets plucked away, taken to the moon, because we don't have our time broker anymore, we don't have our aliens, we have Nick Fury as, I guess, the instigator of this new series of Exiles. Now, Nick Fury is now this character called the Unseen, which I believe comes from the original Sins event that Marvel did back some years ago. I didn't read it, so I don't quite know everything about it, but basically he has become a version of the Watcher. He can watch what goes on Earth, but he can't interact, he can't help in much the same way as the Watchers did, and Uata, or however you want to pronounce, are Earth's Watcher. And basically he grabs the Blink and sets her off on building up this new team. And we get this character, which I got wrong. I thought that looked very much like Rogue, but in fact it's an old version of our present day Ms. Marvel, who is leading a band of, I guess, rebels and there is the mutant annihilation going on in her universe. And then we also get this guy here, Iron Lad, which came, I think, from the Young Avengers. If I remember rightly, because I read a little bit of that, wasn't Iron Lad turned out to be a kind of younger version of Kang? I'm not sure. Please let me know in the comments section below if I'm right or wrong there. What do I actually think of the title? Do I want to keep picking it up? I'm not sure. I'm interested to know who this character is. I'll probably kick myself when it's revealed. And I'm also, I won't say interested, because if you watch Wednesday's video, you'll have known my thoughts about this one here, kind of baby Wolverine, very cartoony Wolverine, how they managed to get that into the team. But it's a first issue, it's building the team, so there's kind of a lot of unanswered questions going on at the moment, and we don't really know what kind of path Saladin is going to take with this book. He says it's not going to be like the last run, the Judd Winnick run of Exiles. He's obviously going to be doing his own thing, which is all well and good. We don't just want a rehash of old volumes of this. But I just don't know. Do I pick the next few up and see? I'm guessing if they're on the shelves now, I will pick them up. It's not a surefire hit for my pull list just yet. Now, we had an anniversary issue from Marvel this week also. That's XMen Blue, or should I say the new XMen Blue. Yes, this is issue 25 of Cullen Bunn. Is it? Yes, Cullen Bunn's XMen Blue team, which originally started as those time-displaced teenagers versions of the X-Men, the original team, and it's starting to morph into something else. I don't know whether this is a conscious decision by Cullen Bunn from what's going on with them. Given that this is an extra large issue page count, we do get a backup story involving those teenagers that haven't really been in these pages since the Venom storyline. We kind of left them off in space, and I didn't really know what's going to happen, and I will get to that when I talk about that particular storyline. But this particular one, this Cry Havoc storyline, it was actually a lot of fun and very reminiscent of the heydays of X-Men. In like it's high adventure. There's a big battle with Magneto and this kind of dark cabal that may or may not have some kind of double agents in it. I mean, yes, Miss Sinister and Bastion, clearly they are the evil guys, but then you've got Emma Frost and you've got Havoc, and their kind of loyalty to this kind of Brotherhood of Evil Mutants almost team, it's dubious to say the least. I don't know really if Havoc and Emma are kind of infiltrating the team so they can find out what's happening and kind of convert whatever badness they're doing. It's very difficult to kind of grasp what is going on there, as Havoc wants to let loose this mother vine, which is going to set off mutations of mutants and make them the dominant species on Earth. So at the moment it's only up to Magneto to try and stop them, but he doesn't really seem to have done that. However, the storyline does feel a bit of a rehash of, say, that Inhuman story with the Terrigen Mists going all around Earth, turning those normal human beings with unlocked inhuman powers in them. It feels a little like that. They've let out this mother vine. I don't know whether it's a gas, it's airborne, and they've blown it up around the world, and I guess these mutants are going to get bigger mutant powers, and what will that what will occur from that in future issues? Hopefully it'll make sense along the way. But it was actually a fun fight that Magneto had up against these four. We saw him kind of using the kind of like armour, kind of almost Iron Man-esque, almost Doom-like-esque even, to ward off the powers of Bastion and Miss Sinister and Havoc and Emma Frost. And in the background, the subplot, I guess, is Polaris bringing up this new XMen Blue team, which has, again, some characters that are kind of dubious. You can see on the cover, we have Zorn, we have the Bloodstorm that they plucked from another universe when the young X-Men were going around time trying to fix that. We have got Jimmy Hudson, again he's from the Ultimate Universe. We have, I think her name was Nightshade, she's part of that, I think it's Raknashar, the Madripoor mutants. But then we have a Daken, the kind of dark version of Wolverine, I think it's Wolverine's son. He's on the team as well, and it's a very strange team, and I guess it makes for interesting reading because the mixture of characters, not quite sure, you know, good, bad, just playing for their own ends. But Polaris brings them all together, goes back to Daddy Dearest and goes, look, this is your new team, do with us what you want. And then we slip into the backstory, which is basically catching up with the team that started this book off, our time-displaced teenagers. And this is where I kind of get stuck and I'm like, oh, what happened? And this comes from the fact that the last storyline, that Venom one, was a crossover with the Venom title. And so I only got half the story. I didn't even get the ending. But apparently Jean Grey is dead. The teenage version of her is dead. They're stuck out in space for whatever reason. They can't get back home as fast as they got to save Scott's father that they were all going out for in the first place. And they are right in the middle of a meteor storm. And so this makes me feel even more strongly about Scott Summers. For those of you who've been with me for a while, you know I don't particularly like Cyclops. He's a whingy, moany guy. Any excuse to mope and sulk and this guy will do it. Yes, he's just seen the love of his life die, but we've done this, we've had this, and we have him basically just in this state of, look, I've given up, the love of my life is supposedly dead. And the ship, which is actually, I guess, Danger, who was the kind of Cerebro danger room of Earth, put them in this kind of stasis while the ship is being bombarded by the meteors, and she gives them this kind of scenario, holographic scenario, where they are back at home in their own time, where they left off, in their old costumes. But it's just a chance really for Scott to say goodbye properly to Jean. But we know it's comics. Jean, is she really dead? Of course she is, and I'm sure she will crop up in future issues. Interested to see this new team, but would like to have our teenagers, original X-Men, back in this book proper. Issue number 44 of The Flash by Joshua Williamson, and fortunately ongoing artist d.c.comics. Always ruin that name, but this finally wraps up this Perfect Storm storyline. We saw at the end of last issue Grodd having been completely disconnected now from the Speed Force, not happy, revenge abounds, and he's going to destroy Central City using this Speed Force whirlwind that's been going on in the background. So it's up to all our Flashes, the Flash team, to save everyone within Central City, put down Grodd, and save the day. And I guess save the day they do. And throughout this we have kind of a poignant love letter from Barry to Iris, explaining, you know, his reasons, I guess, for keeping so much stuff from her, alluding to the fact that Wally is around, that the younger Wally, Kid Flash, she knows, or you know, she's going to know who it is, and just to be accepting and welcoming of this Flash family. It's all great stuff, wrapped up with Gideon's great artwork. Lovely kind of 2-page spread there of them all dashing into action. But again, it's one of those issues that kind of retreads almost old ground. The fact that the Flash keeps trying to do everything on his own when he has this family, this Flash family, that can help and be by his side, and he has to kind of let go of the reins, let go of the control that he thinks he has, and just let more people in to essentially help them save the day. Grodd gets taken away by the kind of enforcers, I guess, of Gorilla City, takes off to Gorilla Prison to face his crimes, and we get this weird future scenario. We've had this kind of Flash museum which takes place very far in the future, and these weird characters, and it is this kind of build up to the fact, to this Flash war, where whoever the big bad is behind it all is going to break up this lovely family unit that Joshua Williamson has been trying to build and build. But I'm very much looking forward to it. Really happy to have stayed with the Flash. And let me know what you've been thinking of the book so far. It's nice to have a regular solid artist on this book for a change. Great stuff. Yes, Donny Cates throws us into the mind of Doctor Strange in issue 388. This comes after Damnation issue 3, the little mini event that's going on in the Doctor Strange universe. And this is the issue where we see Bats, the kind of basset hound that died, that's now Doctor Strange's companion, but in ghost form, go into Doctor Strange's mind to kind of take control, because Mephisto has his soul, so there is an empty space there, and our ghost dog Bats can inhabit that space, and hopefully control Doctor Strange, who is under this kind of magical glamour, thinking that the heroes that have come to save him are actually demons, and he is fighting them off with, supposedly, but we know it's not, his otherwise erstwhile girlfriend, I guess you'd call her, Clea, and Loki. But Bats, in his head, manages to kind of help Stephen break that illusion, and so it's off for hijinks within his mind, battling against demons galore. As usual, just as you think there is no hope, along come those Avengers that were taken over by Mephisto, who'd become the kind of Ghost Rider-esque characters that we've seen in previous issues of the main series of Damnation, coming to his rescue to fight off these big demons, including Shuma Garoth, which we have a quick picture of there. Like I said about this particular series, great stuff. All you need to have is the Damnation mini-series and Doctor Strange, and you get the full story. Fantastic stuff. Really enjoyed this. There is always obviously a bit of trepidation when these titles do these kind of mini events that really only occur and have any significance within that title, and then you hear you've got to buy this and buy that and buy this. You don't have to. Just by this and damnation, you're sorted and you're in for a great, fun, magical, kind of supernatural adventure. Great stuff. Love it. Penultimate issue of the week. It's Deadly Class, issue number 33. Rick, Wes and Jordan almost taking a little bit of a breather after the chaos, the wonderful chaos of the last issue where everything just went to crap, and the fighting, the blood, the violence, just fantastic. We slow down just for a moment as we drop in on Saya, who has been captured and is being tortured by her brother Kenji, and we kind of get a little bit of history between the two, the way he's kind of contorted past history between the two, as Saya being the chosen favourite of the family, and him, although he is older and supposedly next in line for I guess the head of the family, is an embarrassment. And so in true sibling style, he seeks revenge on his little sister and does some quite awful things to not only Saya but his mother also, and this is beautifully realised by our Wes and Jordan on the art and the colouring, but that's the only breather we get as we go back to all our students, all our kids that are fighting for their lives in their own little kind of scenarios, as Kenji has sent out, his kind of army to kill them all and make sure they leave Marcus to bring back, and I'm guessing torture him as well in front of Saya, who clearly is in love with Marcus. And we get these great tense moments of these little kind of individual groups trying to get away, trying to basically save their lives, and I'm sure Rick Remender is going to kill off a few of them. I can just feel it. It's coming. Some people are gonna die. We're gonna be heartbroken, and it's gonna be bad. It's gonna be bad. But it's a wonderful book. Deadly Class. How many more times do I have to tell you? It's one of the best books that Remender is putting out. Just a great, fast-paced, emotional roller coaster of a ride, beautifully drawn, beautifully coloured, just an all-round, almost perfect package going on here. Please catch up in trades, get all the back issues, give some love to Deadly Class so we can keep this comic going forever and ever. It was my pick of the week for its debut first issue. It's my pick of the week again. Issue 2. Jeff Lemire and Andrea Sorrentino along with Dave Stewart's Gideon Falls, issue number 2, as we come back to this psychological horror tale from one of my favourite writers of the present day, Jeff Lemire. And we learn a little bit more from our kind of two main protagonists that we were introduced to in issue 1. We have Norton, the guy who, is he mentally unstable? He's going to see a psychiatrist. She's trying to help him cure him of this obsession in collecting pieces of rubble that he finds around the city, that he feels drawn to, that are building up, and he reveals on a walk with his psychiatrist that he is building this barn, or he's collecting pieces of this barn that we saw at the end of last issue, that our other protagonist, the priest that has come to this new town of Gideon Falls, in a kind of night. Some sort of vision that he's had as he took a stroll in the cornfields where he found the dead woman and apparently the ghost of the previous priest who died, which is why he's there in Gideon Falls. But again, there is this tense, claustrophobic feel to this book that is just fantastic. It really kind of permeates every page. Jeff Lemire has always kind of played with layout construction. This is clearly him, not as much as Andrea Sorrentino's artwork, because you know he's played with this panel structure in the past, but he has these moments where you kind of you have it on its side, this page on its side, and it's just that kind of askew angle of seeing Norton's life. I love the fact that every time you see in his apartment, you kind of get this it's almost 360 kind of, almost bowl-fish, almost Earth-like, which I think is more to the point, kind of environment. His kind of room with all his artifacts in is his world, and I wonder if that's the kind of what Lemire and Sorrentino are getting at, because every time we see inside of his room we get this kind of this angle, this perspective from it. And what we find out, as you can see in that, his room has been burgled, and some of the pieces that he has collected are missing. Of course, the psychiatrist doesn't believe Norton and thinks that talking things through and going through the whole psychiatrist route is going to help Norton become, you know, a better person. But by the end of this issue, perhaps she might start believing in what Norton has been saying. Our priest, after finding the dead body of, I think it was Miss Tremblay, the kind of one of his are they parishioners? One of his congregation who kind of welcomed him. He found her dead, eviscerated, etc. in the cornfield, and now he's a person of interest, to the point which I think was a bit over the top, but they have him like handcuffed to a table, and they lock him up in a prison cell, because, well, it's your first day here, you were the last one to see her, you must be the murderer. But I guess that's kind of like backwater justice from the sheriff and his cops, I guess. But the whole package here, it's just one of those books that is particularly made for me, and why I always have it, well, for the last 2 issues now, as my pick of the week. There's going to be some tough competition to beat this on a monthly basis, because I'm so intrigued about what is going on in this book, what the barn is, what is inside the barn, who is causing all these murders, the past history of the priest, because apparently he's been a bit of a naughty boy. He likes the old drinky poos, and he gets a bit violent. So there's all that, and then obviously there's Norton, and where and how he's come to where he is now. Are these two guys going to meet up? I think that's a part of the course, and the psychiatrist getting all mixed up in this as well. It's just a well-written book, beautiful looking. Buy it. And that's all my comic books this week. Thank you very, very much for watching. Appreciate everyone who comes to my videos. Give this a big thumbs up. Comment down below if you've read any of those books and tell me what your thoughts and opinions were on them. And don't forget, if you're new, subscribe. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.